Uh, okay. I can't believe we're doing this again. Okay. Someone who I've been subscribed to for a little while. Bandit Incorporated, a fellow Australian and stuff. He put out a video, and it was. I haven't finished watching it at all, but like I think there was only a few minutes or so, minute or so left in the thing, and he was talking about. He put in a clip from his Movie Mania podcast, and I've got to say, I'm kind of disappointed that we're having this argument again. Okay. Now, he talks about how the lead being a woman is going to cause a bunch of loyal Star Wars fans to leave the franchise just because the lead is a woman. Now, he didn't personally say that this was a problem for him. He seems to have a problem with Rey being a Mary Sue. Now, I'm not going to get into an argument about that with him or anything like that, because I can see why people think that. I personally don't. I think it was more interesting the character trying to find herself, and yes, I can see quite a few Mary Sue elements, but lately I've seen a lot of Gary Sues in film too, so it doesn't bother me. It just seems like this was more brought up because the lead was a woman. I could be mistaken about that, but I believe just because it was a woman, that was a problem. But this was more concerning to me because I don't think the problem with his argument in this is because the last film made $1 billion, and if there was such a huge backlash to the lead being a woman, the main core fans wouldn't have gone back and seen it again and again and again and again, and they're probably going to do the same for this next one. Now, someone recently in the podcast, they brought up the Doctor changing to a woman as well, and there was a little bit of backlash to that, but I've got to say, mostly the people that I check out, and I think it was more, from what I could tell, it seemed like for about every 10 positive responses, there was one negative that I saw. There was only a couple, but like for the most part, yes, everyone was like, "Okay, finally, we've got a woman in the lead. That's good." And I want to point this out. You're looking at a Star Wars geek. Now, I'd say I'm more of a Trek geek than anything else, but Star Wars, I grew up on Star Wars. I went and saw the prequels a bunch of times, each one. I don't hate the prequels. I don't have this disdain for them. I don't like them as much as the original trilogy, but I don't hold this disdain to them. I've seen most of the Clone Wars. I am watching Rebels. Now, granted, I don't read all the books, but okay, like if it's on film, it's on TV, I am probably going to watch Star Wars. And I saw The Force Awakens a bunch of times. I'm going to go see the Last Jedi probably a bunch of times. And my favorite movie, Tomorrow When the War Began, the lead, a woman. Casting does not bug me that much And again, like I said, if all these hardcore fans had a problem, the lead being a woman, gotta say, the movie wouldn't have made over $1 billion the first time around. Now this next one, just in the nature of it being a sequel, it might not do as well. And this recent thing that he brought up, I don't remember this thing that the Empire was got a bad rap. Again, that's the first I've heard of it. I don't know what evidence he has of that. I don't remember it. It was certainly a tone shift, but from my memory, the Jedi was the one that was everyone hated before Phantom Menace came out, and then it got hit video and everything. All right, but I gotta say, look, I think The Force Awakens has had a time to settle, and I think people have made their final judgments. I think the initial thing, people will go see it. It'll make money and everything. It will make $1 billion. I'm pretty sure it might probably make $1 billion. I think it'll make its money back and everything. I think people will go see it a bunch of times, unless it's an absolute train wreck. And even then, it'll probably still make its money back. But will it break $1 billion? I've got to say, I think it will. I think the third one's going to be the one that's going to be the test. That's going to be the test. Because then we'll have four Star Wars movies under our belt, and then we'll see where we're at. But Bandit, I'm sorry, mate. I just don't see what you're getting at. Honestly, if people had such a problem, and the hardcore fan base had such a big problem with the lead character being a woman, the last movie wouldn't have done as well as it did. But I gotta say, this attitude you're having with like putting all the blame on Daisy Ridley's shoulders is kind of concerning to me, mate. And I think you're not seeing the Star Wars audience as they are. I think you're paying attention to the wrong people. I think everyone was stoked by Daisy Ridley, and people seem to like her. Now, there is a minority out there that are probably not gonna boycott it just because of this reason, and I think there's still a lot of characters to hold on to. I don't think everyone's favorite character in Star Wars was Luke Skywalker. I mean, a lot of people liked Han Solo a lot too, so maybe those people I think will go for Poe Dameron. I don't see what you're getting at, man. I honestly don't. I personally think you got a problem with Daisy Ridley being the lead, and you're projecting that on things that aren't really there. Now, maybe you're not aware of this. I'm not going to make any judgments on you. I just don't. I think you're seeing a bigger backlash out there than that is actually there. I'm not saying it's I'm not saying it's not there, but it's these people who just don't change and everything. And again, you last point. You talked about your mates changing their channel. Like honestly, like if you were to do a comparison, that all they would have to do is give you pretty much the exact same content and have their girlfriends host the show, or their sisters, or all that that they would give them the exact same content, because Star Wars is still in space. It's still gonna have Jedi in it. It's still gonna have First Order, which is essentially the Empire, in it. It's still gonna have a Darth Vader stand in, and two evil villains, two big bads. Yeah, I think you. I don't think you're getting it. You said they would have to do makeup tutorials. No, they won't. Like, if you're making the comparison, the only thing that would change is that girlfriends would host the shows, and they would talk about the same things that they have been talking about. That's all that's changed. Okay. I'm going to send this off to you, Bandit. I am curious to see what you'd have to say, but yeah, this big problem that people are having. I'm sorry, dude, I don't see it.